Hello Internet, welcome back to our Crusader Kings 3 series. It's been, about a week since I played last. These videos have started going up on the channel, which is great. However, I haven't gotten very much feedback in what I'm doing wrong. Oh, very choppy? Why are you being choppy? Stop that. So, I haven't really gotten a lot of your feedback just yet. We're only on episode 4 or so on YouTube. This is episode 12, so I'm going to have a pretty hefty backlog for this series. And yeah, and another thing we should talk about right at the beginning, we didn't talk about it at the start of the game. I'm not playing on Iron Man mode, and the reason for that is my recording setup. I'm a baby YouTuber. I don't have a lot of the really cool setup stuff that most YouTubers have, so unfortunately my recording is terrible, and my capture card will frequently corrupt video files. So for instance, this is episode 12. I actually recorded episode 12 like 4 or 5 days ago, and the video corrupted and ate the video, and now I have to start back over. So I already recorded this video, and we're gonna talk a little bit in this episode about culture, religion, and culture, because they're gonna be stepping stones for us to progress in the game. Now, I think only like 29 years have passed since we started this game. My attention span is still holding out, so we're going to keep playing, but I really do wish we were playing a little bit faster than we are, so I apologize for that. Anyway, Sweden is a thorn in our side, and there's really not much we can do about that. They are very secure with many alliances with pretty powerful nations. I looked about people we could possibly ally, and really the only person that makes sense for us to ally is Sweden. Most of these other nations are different cultures or religions that hate us, specifically Suamenusko. We're hostile to each other, so they will basically not alliance with us. So most of these nations are out. So we're really looking for people who are Norse and Asatru, which is pretty much just these people here. And many of them are already allied to Sweden. So we're allied with Jylland, but they're allied with Sweden, so they're not going to help us there. He's allied to Jorvik. Where's Jorvik? No, I'd like to go to your area. Jorvik. Oh, very choppy. So he's allied with someone in England. Oh, but they're Norse, I bet. Yeah, okay. So there's really no one powerful for us to ally ourselves with. I'm feeling a bit weak from an alliance perspective. We are currently allied to our son in Rurgafur, and we're allied to Jylland. Although that's through that matrilineal marriage, we kind of want to take care of that. So at some point, I'm probably going to disinherit that son. In fact, we should do it sooner than later, rather than risk us dying and it firing off. So which son is that? No. You. Daughter of Jarl Bagseg. Yeah. So I would like to disinherit this son. That way his children are not going to end up being heirs to our land and then it going into House Jylland, which we really don't want. So he does not have children at the moment, but they will eventually produce children. So I would like to disinherit you. I'm sure it will make you hate me. Remove him from our line of succession. What is it? 300 prestige. Good God. We can't afford that. And a lot of piety, which I don't really care about. That's a lot of prestige. We have a hook. We have a hook on him. What can I do with my hook? I could imprison him. So I can't use the hook to disinherit him, apparently. We could get them to split up. We could possibly, like kill her or something. But because, there's a lot of things at play here, I don't think that's in our best interest. I think we would just want to gain prestige and then disinherit him. But anyway, let's talk about culture and religion. So one of the major steps for us is going to be pivoting to feudalism. So if we go to our decisions pop-up here, we have adopt feudal ways. Essentially, feudalism is... Currently, we're tribal, which means we really only have these tribes, and we're pretty disparate. We're not very interconnected. We don't rely too heavily on each other. Yes, I'm in charge of all this land, but there's not much of a hierarchy going on, and feudalism would improve those things. Feudalism would allow us to have more control. It would change the way we interact with our vassals, things like that. But there are a few requirements for us to accept feudalism, and like most of Europe is already feudal. Most of the big powers in Europe are already feudal. Feudal is a good thing. We want feudalism. However, it has some requirements. Number one, we need to have absolute tribal authority. We talked about that previously This basically says how much control we have over our vassals. I mean, it's called tribal authority. It's how much authority we have over the tribes. As we increase, the vassals will like us less and less, but we will gain more control over our realm. So that is something we're interested in doing in the long term anyway. It would be better to do it while we're a small realm because we have fewer vassals that will hate us. And if we're a huge realm, like say we take all of this and we have a ton of vassals and we start increasing our tribal authority, there are going to be people who go to civil war with us to try and escape our rule. So that's a big step that we're going to have to cross eventually. Next, we need a satru to be an organized faith. Currently, we're what is referred to as an unreformed pagan. What this means is that we have a pagan religion that has not gone through reformation. We are unreformed Norse faith at the moment. And we will need to go through the work of organizing our religion before we could adopt feudalism, just because paganism is a bit more associated with tribalism and kind of being these, trying to think of a nice way of saying it. It's very crude in general. Being a pagan, it represents that we're not a very advanced people. Like, we're a very primitive, warlike, lacking thing. So feudalism would require us to reform our faith because being this kind of wild pagan is counterproductive to the organization that comes from feudalism. Does that make sense? Next, we need to have a certain level of fame, which we already have, which is not a big deal at all. The development level in our capital chiefdom needs to be equal to or greater than 10. Now, I didn't know this before because we had some events that would have increased our development, and I ignored it because it didn't have any effects at the moment. I did not realize we needed development for that. We also need development for culture, but we will talk about that in a moment, and we'll talk more about religion in a moment. And then finally, we need all tribal era innovations. Now, this is based on our culture as well, so we'll discuss that. So we're very far at the moment. We are very far away from adopting feudalism, but it is something we need to keep in the back of our mind as developing our realm. And the reason we're talking about all this, the reason we're not going to go to war in this episode is because I keep saying, oh, let's turn our attention to the realm itself instead of focusing on expansion. And this is what kind of we can do to benefit our realm, is to interact with our religion and our culture. There's not much we can do at the moment, but I wanted to at least talk about these topics so that we understand moving forward that these are things we need to focus on. So every country in the game, every province, every group of people, we have two things. We have culture and religion. Our religion is dictated, both are dictated by where we start. So because we started in this region, we are Norse, and because we started in this region, we're a satru. Obviously down here would be like Hispanic stuff, or in Hispania here, Catholic Asturleonese, apparently, is what their culture group is. But anyway, culture group is kind of like the tech tree in this game. If you played Crusader Kings 2, there was literally technology that you would research over time. In this game, it's based mostly around culture, at least at the time of this recording, where there's no DLC or anything. So if we click on our culture, we actually get a pop-up displaying all of these current innovations. Now, remember, it said we needed all tribal era innovations to adopt feudalism. That means all this stuff right here. Now, different cultures will start with different things unlocked, but we already have some of these items. Like we have the quilted armor, which would allow us to recruit armored footmen. And how close we are to actually gaining these these technologies is based on this blue bar. All of these progress over time. I believe it is based on, kind of like Crusader Kings 2, I think being near a country or adjacent to a country that has these things will increase them, or maybe just the more countries that unlock them will increase the speed at which they unlock things like that. I'm not 100% on what all does that. And they all progress slowly over time. So if we go to the, I don't know how you say this exactly, but it's basically a basic siege weapon. You'll see it has 6% towards the progression, and it will be discovered in about 454 years. That's because of a lot of factors. If we look here, you can see that there's a base progression that happens, and then on top of that, it's based on the development of all Norse counties in the game. So anywhere that is Norse, it's based on the average development of these provinces all put together and then divided among each other. So because we have a very low development, remember Norse lands tend to start out with very, very low development. we have a very small percentage boost here. So if we increase the development in our lands, it will gradually raise the average development of all the counties, and we will progress more quickly through tribalism. I didn't know that, you know, as of like a week ago, so it's, I think, important that we start turning our attention a little bit to development. And then there's a base 5% chance. So very slow progression in this particular thing. Now, depending on how many cultural areas you have. So currently our entire realm is comprised of Norse provinces. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So it looks like we have 11 of these provinces. Whoever has the most holdings of Norse land will become the cultural head. So currently that would be Sweden. Can we go to the other map modes? Sweden controls, like, we look pretty big, but you got to remember a huge part of our land is this impassable mountain terrain that means nothing. So Sweden is actually considerably larger than us. He has 21 counties. We only have 11. So he is the cultural head. As the cultural head of the entire culture, you get to choose a focus on one of these things. So our current focus is city planning. So because he's focused on it, you'll see we get, I'm sorry, they call it a fascination. You'll see we get a pretty big boost to the development of this particular technology. And so instead of being 400 and whatever years, this one will be discovered in about 45 years. City planning is a big one. It will allow us to build a lot more things. And this applies to us as well. If he researches it, it applies to everyone of the Norse faith. And in fact, most of these give passive benefits to everyone of the Norse, like everyone who has provinces in the Norse faith. Some of them have special requirements like elephantry. You have to be in certain areas of the map for that to happen. But for the most part, we just want as many of those unlocked as possible, as quickly as possible. We really don't have any influence over that because Sweden is in charge. And then additionally, I believe his learning ability increases the rate at which we will learn new things. So that is culture. We would like to become the cultural head, but we would probably also focus on city planning. So it's fine that he's in charge at the moment, because this is one of the major steps forward. It will allow us to build a lot more things, which will really allow us to develop our holdings. So at least we can take some amount of solace in that. And then let's talk about religion. I know this is a very lengthy explanation type episode, but I feel like it's necessary. So thanks for bearing with me. I appreciate that you're still watching. So every religion in the game has a few things going on. They're going to be a little bit differently. They're going to behave differently depending on what they are. Like Catholics have their own thing going on with the papacy. We are a satru, and you can see the area in which we currently have this religion in some of England because of the Norse holdings there. So every religion has all kinds of stuff going on. We didn't really touch on it very much, but the tenets are like the main huge things of this religion. So we have the warmonger trait, which we talked about, affects our people's opinion of us when we're at war is better. When we are out of war for too long, people will start to be unhappy. We can sacrifice people for piety, and then we have bonuses for getting married and having family because we're a really family-focused religion. There are also a ton of other things going on. So for instance, we have all these little things, and it's basically how our religion feels about them. So for instance, divorce is always permitted. So we can get divorced by spending piety. Now, if we were Catholic, I believe you need approval from the Pope in order to get divorced, because Catholicism, I think even modern day Catholicism, views divorce as against God, because marriage is like a religious institution. And there's a lot of this information. So consanguinity, you can marry your cousin. I think we touched on that before. This is not considered like incestuous, so you're permitted to marry your cousin without issue. Female adultery is criminal. We've already seen that in our religion. We had some people commit adultery that we could imprison them. And the reason we could imprison them is because it's against our faith, and therefore it would be a righteous imprisonment. So all of this stuff is factored into our religion. We're not super concerned with that. I'm mostly fine with the way the religion is at the moment. However, again, in order to be progressed to feudalism, we need to reform this religion. Now we can click this button and see what that would entail. So in order to reform our religion, a couple things are going to happen. One, all the old people will not like us because they will consider us having basically abandoned our faith. So that will be a problem. However, most people in our domain, if they like us, will convert with us. So we won't have to worry too much about our vassals when we convert, but a lot of our outside powers will probably not adopt our faith and will be unlikely to like us very much. So that's one of the major things that will happen. And it shows here who would adopt with us, who would convert religion with us. And it will become an organized faith, which will allow us to do some cool stuff and will also allow us to adopt feudalism. However, there are requirements. So, for instance, we need 4,650 piety, which is an enormous amount of piety. Additionally, we need at least 3 holy sites to reform our religion. And they can't be identical, so we would have to change something. I like human sacrifice. I would love to keep that. But like we could change what the tenets of our religion are and shape it more to our benefit. So like, what does legalism do, for instance? Law changes are cheaper. They're less likely to join very loud vehicle, less likely to join factions, more likely to join factions against other religious leaders, blah, 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 elective succession. So there's all these different perks. It's a very expansive system that we will look at when the time comes. But for now, it doesn't matter. We need to, in order to reform, the main thing is that we need to have a lot of piety and we need to hold 3 of our holy sites, which is pretty tricky. If we click holy sites, you'll see there are 5 of them. As far as I know, you can't get rid of these and they can't change or anything. And we can see them marked on the map here, there are 5 of them. In order to reform, we need to hold at least 3 in our personal realm. So for us, it would be these 3 that we would focus on. We would like to stay out of Europe. We already talked about this. So we would have to expand. If we look at the map, we don't control any of them. One of them is here, one of them is in Sweden, and one of them is in... Where is my religion? Is in Shaland here. So we don't control any at the moment. However, if a similarly faithed person, so Sweden is our faith, and they hold this site, because they hold that, the entire people of Asatru get bonuses. We get monthly piety based on our knights, and we get increase to our heavy infantry damage. If it's held by someone of a different faith, we don't get those perks, but we can see what those perks would be. So in general, you want them all to be controlled, but it's kind of difficult to do that. And then in order to reform, we will need to capture and hold at least 3 of these, which is not easy. You kind of have to make a special point of going after them. Jamtland we could probably consume pretty easily in the near future, but Sweden is going to continue being a very difficult prospect for us. I really don't know what to do about Sweden. It's something I've been giving a lot of thought to. I don't know how to take them down. They have too many alliances, and they themselves are relatively powerful. So, like just looking here, their entire alliance has more men than us, but not by a lot. It's pretty close, actually. But we really don't want to go into war with 4 different, defending armies, because Sweden is so large. In order to end the war, we would have to siege down so many holdings. And it would be a very lengthy war. And then at the same time, we have multiple armies coming at us doing multiple different things. We would have a very hard time defending. So we are too small to take it to Sweden right now. But we need to keep expanding, and I don't really know where to expand to. But anyway, that was religion and culture, just touching on why they're important and what we need to be doing. I don't know. I feel like I'm bad at Crusader Kings, so I really don't know the right strategies. I want to go to war and continue expanding, but I'm also wary of expanding too quickly. I'm also like afraid of people joining factions against us because we're too aggressive. Chieftain Adar, my son, could be in alliance with me. What do you control? Just that one county? I thought I made you a duke. Aren't you a duke? You're just a county, huh? Who did I make a duke in the last episode? Doesn't matter. Sure, son. We could be in alliance. It's fine. Yeah, because we would want to defend our land anyway if he gets into a war with someone. Okay, so Jamtland, you're allied to Halagoland. Wait, don't we have an... Wait, didn't we just attack Jamtland? Truce of Trandalog. Okay, no, that's right. We ate what used to be Upland or Opland. Sweden, who are you at war with? Why are you being sieged? You're not at war with anyone. Okay. Arget, are you at war with Sweden? No. Maybe it's one of Sweden's, vassals trying to improve his standing. Could be that. And we could turn our attention to these people and, like, just ignore Sweden and maybe even ally Sweden and just take over all of Finland and you know, Norway, all this stuff, and just gobble this up. Because they're a different religion and we would get bonuses and all kinds of stuff and we don't really care what they think of us. And we could expand without interacting with Sweden. My concern is that Sweden will just continue blobbing out and then we're eventually going to have so much friction that we go to war. You have a 0 opinion of me. I'm craven, but I'm honest. Bad personal diplomacy. And we had a diplomatic incident. Foreign affairs. I don't really want to ally Sweden, though. But honestly, if we allied Sweden, we would become incredibly powerful. No. Who are you in alliance with? Just Halagoland. Let's see about going to war. How are our men doing? Sorry, it's been a while since I played. We're almost at max. We could do with some prestige. Are you a different religion? You're not, so we wouldn't get much piety or anything. It's going to cost us piety. We could get a little bit of prestige out of it. Take the duchy. Cost 250 piety. We actually are a little bit low. Oh no, this is piety. My mistake. They are vastly inferior. Change objective. Chiefdom. No. Take the duchy. Earldom of Trandalog. Oh, you hold the duchy of this guy? That's a bummer. Or Jamtland. Jamtland would take a much bigger chunk out of them. How many provinces is that? I can't change map mode in this menu. That's a bummer. We could go to war with them. Let's do it. Let's do it. It's been a while since I played. We're at 23 minutes. We can declare war. Probably be a quick war. Sure. Hopefully nothing bad is happening that I'm missing. Oh, we could subjugate him. We could take over his entire realm and make him our vassal. Oh, we don't have prestige. Because he's so powerful, it would cost us a lot. Okay. Minus 750. So it costs 1,000, and he rules a kingdom, so it would be even higher cost. Okay, and we really don't want to subjugate him anyway, because he'll hate us. So we would rather take things ourselves. We don't have the gold to usurp his duchy, though. Maybe we'll pick up some gold in the war. Conquer duchy. Jamtland. Confirm. Declare war. Great. Declared war on Jarl Otter. Let us... military. Change our rally point. How do I move rally point? Bam. Send our men there. So here's something that I find interesting but also annoying. If they capture your relatives, you get a huge war score bonus. So it's really important that we defend our capital, because if they capture our children, we could lose a huge amount of war score and they may be able to end the war. And it's worked in our favor multiple times where we've captured the leader or whatever, but at the same time, I really don't like that mechanic very much. Like I said, it's mostly worked in our favor. I just don't really love it, because, like, now I have to send men down here to protect my home when we could just fight in a stand-up fight. Due to war between you, you can no longer sway him. Yeah, we were trying to get into a relationship with him. My thoughtful liege. So it automatically called my vassals to war. Okay. It's weird because didn't we see in the last episode we didn't have to call them in? They just gave us levies instead. A little confused by that. We are running low on supplies. Why is that? Losing supplies. We're over the supply limit. Okay. 3860. Didn't we just have 4,000 in some? Why did I lose men? Okay. And they have come to war. How strong were you? I didn't actually look. Not very strong at all. Let's split our army. Let's think about this. They're going to send all their men down to fight us. How many men? No, Jamtland as a whole, please. You had more than 600. Oh, the combined military might was 1,000. I thought to... You have 600. And you have 400. Okay. Let's split. Make a new unit. Oh, I don't really want to pick out... Oh, just take levies because they're not specific groups. Take like 1,000 men. Take you. We'll take you. And we'll send you back to sit on our capital. That way they can't just come siege us. That's more men than they have, plus we'll be in a defensive position. The only issue is they might take boats and get there before us. But it's unlikely they would be able to consolidate together and get all their men down there that quickly. And then you will go siege all of their stuff. Hopefully we pick up some prisoners and things. Rakissa Stake has a claim on the chiefdom of Namdal Filkul. Sure, go away please. To the modest King Tor of Agder, I call on you to honor our alliance in the Gillinder conquest of Brittany. Dude, why are you doing this all the time? This guy really wants to expand into Europe. I wish he would stop that. So he's going over to Brittany. Brittany's usually... It's ruled by a child, eh? That's not great. You have some siblings who will take over after you. Why is this kid going to inherit instead of the adults? Okay, doesn't matter. They're not terribly strong, but I would like to... Gillinder Conquest. How strong are you? You have a lot of men. You're going to win. How many allies does Brittany have? Toulouse. How big is Toulouse? An additional 900. You probably will win this war without my intervention. We'll accept. We might go raid if there's time after the war here. 2 enemies. Toulouse and, yep. That seems fine. I would like to maintain our alliance because, as I said, we don't have very many alliances. We would kind of like to keep them. So let's begin raiding here. So in CK2, there was a mechanic where if you expanded too quickly, go ahead and split this army as well. Because you're just over the supply limit here. Control click. You can go over to Mararna. You're going to take attrition. Supply capacity increased by such and such. Go back here and gain some supplies. And then... Why is the supply limit so low? Supply limit 2070. So it's just because we have too many men. Once they move, this should go away. No, they're taking attrition because of the siege. But they're also losing supplies. I thought this was why we were getting major attrition before. So you should be able to stock up since you're in friendly land, right? Plus 20 per month. That's a very slow gain. But we'll hold here for now. And then we'll move them over here to Nidaros. Has joined the war. Enemy ally joined the war. Sure, sure, sure. No one's going to bother us up here, probably. So, not super concerned about it. 110. We'll wait another month and let them get their supplies up a little bit. Because I don't want them marching. You know, it doesn't matter. Because once they conquer this, it will become friendly territory. And then they can gain supply there. And you are going to arrive back at our capital to defend. Should be fine. How is the development of our counties? 0. Where's develop? 3. It gains 0.6 per month. Plus 1.8 because it's being developed, and currency plus 10. So we want to increase the development, especially in our capital. We'll have to look into some buildings for that once we get a little bit of gold and prestige. For now, though, let's just focus on our sieges. We've won the siege, so now you should be regaining supplies. You're over the supply limit. How are you over the supply limit? It said there were 2,000. Now it says 1,000. It literally, did I click the wrong thing? It literally just said it was 1,000. Okay. You won't take attrition if you move there. That'll do for now. Still learning the mechanics of Crusader Kings 3. Certainly not doing terribly well in a lot of these fights. I've been mostly confused about things. So they have 1,400 men of Orebro and Norali. They're fighting each other. No, they're not fighting each other. Who are you at war with? You, yeah, that's me. Over the Earldom of Ossory. Ossory's over here, I think. Ossory? I thought Ossory was an island. Am I... Shetland, Freyrer, Munster, Earldom of the Isles. Where is, Ossory? Oh, in Ireland. I'm completely wrong. So it looks like Jamtland is attacking that guy to try and take over. I don't know why they're all expanding over here. Why not fight with your neighbors where you can consolidate power in your realm to a geographical area that's easily defensible? Why go against each other? I don't understand. Whatever. But that war could be an issue for us. If they come over here and siege, we won't be able to siege, and we might end up fighting their enemies. We've gained county corruption in Gualdela, which is not great. Siege 1, we know. No prisoners, though, so that is a bummer. We would like to build up our cash stores a little bit. We are a war profiteer, which increases our cash while at war. We only gained 1 gold from sieging that province. Must have been recently sieged. You have a lot of supplies. You should be able to walk over here without attrition. And then we'll send our other army over yonder eventually here. How are we doing in the war? Looks like they're taking it to Brittany at the moment. And we're doing okay in our war. You sieging Brittany? You are. I'm a little surprised. I kind of thought between the two of them they would come up here and fight. But looks like they're going to hold and take Brittany. We're not really going to get any prestige or anything out of it. We're distracted by our own war. These guys probably won't take the fight to us. They are 2 separate armies, so they probably won't coordinate. This one is a little more concerning, but we're in a defensive position. You now control whatever. Prisoner taken in siege. We took his son and heir. So we did get a boost to our war score, but not really enough to enforce our demands. And I think because of my recording issues, I do think we're going to call the episode here. So for now, hey everybody, thanks for watching. Hopefully you had a good time. Remember to click that like button. It really helps put my videos out there for more people to see. Leave me a comment. I would like to, I had someone today comment that I should start reading some positive comments occasionally on the channel just to shout people out. So I may be doing that in the future. So there's a huge backlog. So of course, by the time you see this, I will probably be on like episode 25 or something. But you know, it's something. So yeah, that's going to do it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode.